The governor wants full in-person learning to be available to every student by sometime in April. Arlington parents weigh in on that plan, with the school committee soon to follow. Do you recognize all these folks on prominent display along Mass Ave? No? Well, maybe there's a reason for that. And find out why current AHS seniors will soon be no longer in the halls, but forever in the walls. That and more up next. It's ACMi News.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Hello, Arlington, and welcome to ACMi News. I'm Isabella Turst. The studio lighting grid is still in the process of being updated, so once again, the news is being delivered to you from our control room at Studio A. The month of February is behind us, but the current moment is always the best time to reflect on Black history. And we can be reminded to do just that with a glance. Mary Rose Saad explains.
It was a visual reminder of those who made history.
This is only the second year that we've actually done these Black History Month banners. Last year, when I joined the commission, it was a new concept for them. Like, the town really didn't have a town-wide Black History Month celebration. So when I joined the commission, it was like my mission to be able to do something that was visible to everyone in the community so that everyone felt like they were seen and that there was a visible celebration of diversity in the town of Arlington.
The Arlington Human Rights Commission celebrated Black History Month with banners featuring Black trailblazers. They included revolutionaries like Marsha P. Johnson, Mariel Franco, the Combahee River Collective, and many others. If those names aren't familiar to you, well, that's the point. The artwork for the banners was done by Rachel DeMond, a Black artist based in Roxbury. Her work explores themes of anti-imperialism, people power, and liberation politics. Crystal Haynes is a member of the Arlington Human Rights Commission. She hopes that people are inspired to take time to reflect and learn when seeing the banners.
I want them to take away the fact that a significant amount of effort was put in from the town to make sure that people understood the importance of these characters, understood the importance of the subjects of each one of these banners, and that Black history is everyone's history, is Arlington's history, is the residents of Arlington's history, and that the town is affirming that.
For the Arlington Human Rights Commission, choosing Rachel as the artist meant breaking barriers in representation.
She said that she grew up in East Arlington, she grew up in Arlington Public Schools, and never really felt seen. And so to be able to have her artwork along Mass Ave as part of our Black History Month banner program really allowed her culture to be seen when growing up she may not have felt that way. So I think that was really significant.
The banners themselves served as a way to encourage people to explore history that they may not have been aware of before.
If you're walking by the banners and you don't know who that person is, even if you do know who that person is, Google them and learn something new, and then bring that back to a friend or family member, because that's certainly extremely important.
You can connect with the Arlington Human Rights Commission on Instagram at Arlington Human Rights. For ACMi News, Mary Rose Saad.
Massachusetts public schools will move to fully in-person classes. The state's decision was based on concern about students' mental and physical well-being. ACMi News correspondent In Young Kim talked to Arlington parents to get a sense of how they feel about that plan.
Governor Charlie Baker hopes that classes can be fully in person starting in April.
With COVID cases and hospitalizations continuing to decline and vaccines well underway, it's time to set our sights on eliminating remote learning by April and starting with elementary schools. Their social, mental, and emotional well-being has been significantly impacted.
Along with the governor, state officials also claim that students need to take classes in person. 60 physicians recently submitted a letter explaining that for students, the lack of social interaction increases their own health risk. Citing the continued rollout of vaccines and declining COVID-19 cases, the state hopes to bring students back to school. Parents will have a choice to allow their children to attend in-person classes or stick with remote learning. ACMi hit the street to ask parents what they think about the plan.
I'm comfortable with sending my children to school now, knowing that there is a vaccine, but I still have my worries and concerns. I'm not sure how they're going to fit all the students in class, but I'm sure the teachers and staff have figured that out.
Very happy to hear that. It's been, I guess the only concern, I guess it would be the full class. Whereas so far this year, Henry's he's been going Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's a smaller class because it's cohort. I think the pros greatly outweigh any cons regarding that. Just for him to be able to do gym and other specials and just be in person. I mean, just that's invaluable. So that's fantastic.
I have mixed reactions about it. Part of me feels it's going to be a difficult task to accomplish because you're going to be going from a very small class to a double class, and they are going to have to accommodate all that. Part of me understands the other aspect of it, that it's really hurting the children socially, somewhat mentally as well. A lot of them are in the house by themselves. It's not great. So I have mixed reactions. If it happens, we will adjust to it. I'm not quite sure if it's the most timely time. I kind of wish it would have happened either in the middle of the year or next year.
As you can hear, there is excitement for the prospect of getting back to normal, even while concerns remain about just how that will be done. Next week, the Arlington School Committee will deliberate about how to apply the state policy to local public schools. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you the updates. For ACMi News, I'm In-young Kim.
The ongoing rebuild of Arlington High School recently reached another milestone. To commemorate the moment, AHS seniors were invited to contribute in a way that will last forever. ACMi's high school production team captured this lovely story and shares it with us here.
We are doing the signing of the topping off beam. We've invited the senior class, members of the senior class, to come down in shifts and sign the beam that's going to become part of the new construction.
With every construction project, there's a phase where you get to where the framing is almost completely done, and they put the last beam in place, and that's called the topping off. And so this is the beam that is going to be used for the topping off for phase one of the construction project. It's typical for every construction project to have this topping off ceremony, and so typically somebody in the community signs it, and the building committee thought that the seniors should get a chance to sign it since they're seniors. And also, it's been a tough year, last couple of years for them, and so we thought we wanted to give them something fun and a way to be part of the school that they aren't really going to, to be in. So somebody came up with a slogan, actually. It's no longer in the halls, but forever in the walls. So it's going to be on the Performing Arts Wing over on the side by Schuler Court. There's a Performing Arts Wing that's going to have like band and chorus classrooms, and it's going to be placed, inside behind the brick. You won't be able to see it, but over a window there. There are 330 seniors, and we've had about 2/3. They have to do a sign up. They come in 20-minute slots, and we've had about 2/3 of the seniors so far sign up. So we're hopeful that as many as possible will come down and get the chance to put their signature on the beam.
Thanks for the support from Dr. Janger. We were able to purchase a souvenir pen, get it customized with the class. I was thinking of when they have a bill signing and they do like a ceremonial pen for that occasion, that it might be nice to have a souvenir and a hygienic way to have everybody have their own pen. So it's a little Sharpie with the class of 2021 and an image of the new building on it. We've tried to do a few things to make it special. When folks signed up, we asked them to submit a song for a class playlist. So we've got some music to entertain us. We've got a banner for photographs. The parents of the seniors have been terrific. They brought down some props. I think the heart of it is just giving some seniors an opportunity to be together in person and catch up and talk, even if it's smaller groups and not the whole class. And clearly there were some people who had not seen each other since March. To see one another in person was exciting, and so we've given the students a little time to linger and catch up.
So right now, phase one is the STEAM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics, is a 4-story classroom wing. And then right next to that is the performing arts wing. And those are, the STEAM wing is completely framed and even wrapped right now, so they're working on the interior, pouring floors and things like that. The performing arts wing is in the process of being framed. This being, as I mentioned, will be the end of that process in February 2022, so just a little less than a year from now, we'll be able to move in and it'll be completely ready for students and faculty to move in and have classes there. It's actually going really well. We actually have made a few budget changes where we're actually coming in under budget. And we've been able to add a few things back into the project because the budget is looking pretty favorable. So earlier this year, we added back, actually, I guess the end of last year in December, we added back, there was a bikeway from the Minuteman bike ramp that was tentatively added to the project, and we confirmed that it could be added because the budget was favorable for that. And then just recently we added into upgrading some finishes because things are looking good for the budget. So far so good. Really pleased with that.
Local organizations are stretching their resources as more families face food insecurity this year. Aneem Osmani tells us about one of these organizations and an Arlington volunteer who welcomes the chance to help her neighbors.
Margie DeMonte is an Arlington resident who volunteers at Community Servings, a nonprofit organization in Jamaica Plain. Community Servings prepares and delivers medically tailored nutritious meals to thousands of families with an illness across the region, including Arlington. Margie describes how she and the organization have increased their productivity since the start of the pandemic.
It's busier, for sure, because now they are adding on food insecure people due to the pandemic. So they, every time I go there, they say, oh, we have 300 more clients, so they're really, really busy.
Margie joined Community Servings in November 2020. On-site volunteers are kept to a minimum and have to follow COVID protocols. Despite the change in workflow, she is more than happy to continue contributing for the sake of those in need.
Even if you're not feeling good that day, or it's snowstorm or whatever, you still go in because you're doing something that at the end really does make an impact on people's lives. So it's a great feeling. It really is. And I think everybody would say the same about the place.
Volunteering at Community Servings is part of a larger personal goal Margie has in mind.
So I got very interested in learning more about nutrition. So I became certified as a nutritional consultant. And then the pandemic hit, and I was looking at ways to volunteer and help out with somehow. And I found this organization called Community Servings, and they're located in Jamaica Plain. And I was really trying to learn more because my ultimate goals are eventually I'd like to be able to feed homeless population. Those are the ones that are out on the streets that really do not have access to good, healthy, warm, prepared meals. So I'm really trying to look at ways I can develop ways to help other people to do that.
Margie has a long-standing interest in providing food for the homeless. In 2019, she produced a mini documentary series on ACMi titled Feeding the Homeless and the Hungry to raise awareness of the importance of reaching out to those in need.
So I'm still trying to figure out how do I give out hot, warm meals to people out on the streets who just don't have access to it. So it's a big project. I'm still learning, trying to figure that out, how to do that.
The deadline for the town survey that we mentioned last week has been extended, and you now have until Monday, March 8th to fill it out. There's another survey for residents. As we head into spring, more people will jump on their bikes to get around town. For over 10 years, Arlington has maintained its status as a bicycle-friendly community. This national recognition provides the town with resources to maintain bike paths and improve accessibility within the community. This year, Arlington has applied to renew its designation as a BFC, which includes a survey for residents to provide feedback and suggestions based on their biking experiences in town. Here's Senior Transportation Planner Daniel Amstutz to explain the application process and why public input will be valuable.
The League of American Bicyclists is the organization, sort of nonprofit bicycle national organization that runs the Bike Friendly America program, which includes bike friendly communities, bike friendly businesses, bike friendly universities. And they, this is part of their sort of additional tool that they have as part of their review of the application to get bike friendly community status. It's optional. It's not actually required, but it's another tool they use to gather public input. In the past, they've used sort of like expert reviewers that are from like local advocacy organizations or the local community in order to actually review the application. So this is a different way that they're trying to get community input into the application or into the degree to which bicycling is a priority in the community and what kinds of projects and programs that that the community has. So I don't actually know 100% what's in it, but it's just references back to some of the other questions that are in the application, I expect, about like what we're doing for infrastructure and education and other different pieces. I think it's helpful for us if we're talking about potentially certain grants might be interested in knowing that information. If you're, you know, what kind of status that you have, what kind of commitment you have to sustainable transportation or non-motorized transportation. I think the other important thing about doing the bike-friendly community application itself, it sort of requires you to reflect on what you're doing and what you could be doing, and how you can improve. So it's sort of like a self-check to see where you are and how you can make it better. And by getting a better status, it tells you that you're on the right track and that you've been doing the right things to, at least in the league's mind, improve the safety and comfort and the ability of people within your community to bicycle and encourage bicycling, and so be bicycle friendly. Exactly. So so it is kind of a self-check for that. So we want to be, I think, as accurate as possible so that they can make an informed decision. I think that's part of the reason why the public outreach piece helps.
The survey can be found on the town's website. In other news, Arlington Community Electricity is looking to increase the number of participants for their renewable energy program. Energy Manager Ken Pruitt speaks with ACMi News to highlight the program that was first launched in 2017, how residents can opt up their current electricity plan, and what to expect out of the different options for receiving electricity.
We created the Arlington Community Electricity Program, or ACE, back in 2017. And one of the main reasons was in order to increase the amount of electricity being used in Arlington that comes from renewable sources that don't create carbon pollution and don't further exacerbate the climate crisis that we're in right now. Under the ACE program, everyone in town is automatically enrolled. You can opt out, but we strongly encourage people to stay in the program. And under the default, quote unquote, local green option, which actually costs a comparable amount, often less than the basic Eversource service, you get the same electricity, but 11% more of it is coming from renewable sources. By participating in the ACE local green option, 29% of your electricity is coming from strictly renewable sources. And what we're doing with this ACE opt-up campaign is to try to get people, residents and small business owners, to voluntarily opt up to either 50% or even better, 100% clean electricity through the program. It's very easy to do it. All you need to do is grab your Eversource bill, so you have the account number in front of you, and go to ACE, so ace.arlingtonma.gov, and then click on Act Now, which is right at the top of the web page. And there's a very simple form to fill out. It'll take you, 2 minutes, and you can opt up to either 50 or 100% renewable electricity. Even at the 100% level of renewable electricity, you're only paying 2 cents per kilowatt hour more. It's really just it's easy, inexpensive, and has a big positive impact on the environment. It's absolutely as reliable as any of Eversource's electricity distribution is to anywhere within their service territory. When you participate in the Arlington Community Electricity Program, which again, almost everyone in town is, at least at the default level, you're still receiving your electricity through the same power lines. It's still being generated around New England and fed into the electricity grid. By participating in ACE, you're just ensuring that the amount of electricity that you use, if you, let's assume you opt up to the 100% level, you're ensuring that 100% of your electricity usage is being offset by that equivalent generation of renewable electricity, most likely from solar or wind power. But you'll see absolutely no difference in, turning on and off your lights and plugging in the TV compared to before opting up in the program.
A few balmier days recently have some of us turning our thoughts to spring, but it's still winter out there, folks. So spare a thought for a hardy few who wouldn't let the pandemic put their fundraiser on ice. This year, they'll take the polar dunk. Event organizer Bill Hayner let us in on the cold, hard facts.
I've been fortunate to be a member of the Rotary Club of Arlington for the past 6 years. And each year, around this time, the end of January, middle of February, the local district has a fundraiser to raise money to fight polio. And that any money raised is matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation 2-to-1. Normally, we go out to Good Harbor Beach out in Gloucester. There's about 200 of us that run into the water, raise money, and act crazy as usual. Well, obviously this year it couldn't happen. The pandemic has prevented large groups of people getting together. So the Rotary Club of Arlington decided we would not skip it. They weren't going to let us not suffer this year. So we came up with the idea of several of us willing to be submerged, dropped into a dunking booth. So on March 13th at St. Camilla's parking lot at around 12:30, 4 of us, Nancy Feeney, Paul Buckley, Rebecca Harris, and myself, Bill Hayner, will be dropped into a tank of water. Now, I know some of you already know about the forecast, and it looks like it might be a little bit warmer than usual. Well, Mr. Buckley has volunteered to bring 10 bags of ice cubes to drop into the thing ahead of time. So we will reach that. It is a fundraiser for polio, and our club annually raises between $1,000 and $2,000 each year. And we're very proud to do this and to continue doing it. And I want to just mention, we're very fortunate to have ACMi doing this because the Board of Health was not excited about us having a large gathering of people. So we're limited to about 15 to 20 people maximum, and that'll cover the people that are going to be there and the video crew. This will be, thanks to ACMi, sent out on the regular news broadcast. You will be able to see us all suffer in the icy water. The Rotary Club of Arlington website will have the links if people want to make donations.
And it's back to school for our last couple of features. First, Chandler Betts is here with this week's Ponderscope.
Welcome to the Ponderscope, your Arlington High School news, updates, and more. On March 7th at 3 p.m., the Student Council Mini Grants Committee will be hosting a trivia afternoon. Admission to the event is free, but if you would like to make a donation, it would be much appreciated. 100% of donations go toward AHS students who apply for grants. Seniors, the deadline for submitting childhood photos for the yearbook is rapidly approaching, March 12th to be exact. Miss Donahue sent an email with all pertinent information, so stay on the lookout. Also on March 12th, the AP test registration deadline. Each test is $100, but if you miss this deadline, you will incur a $40 late registry fee. Be looking for Mr. Thornton's emails. Arlington Eats announces Beats for Eats at Home, a virtual spin on its signature annual fundraising gala. This year, Beats appeals to both kids and adults with a professionally designed town-wide scavenger hunt and generous auction items, ranging from pandemic essentials like cooking tutorials and craft beer to yoga classes and chicken raising programs. The week-long festivities kick off on March 14th with auction and scavenger details at www.beatsforeats.org. I'm Chandler Betts, and this has been the Ponderscope.
Thanks, Chandler. Finally, our youth sports team had a chance to sit down with this year's boys basketball captains to look back at a season like none before.
Hi, everybody. Don Phelan from ACMi Sports here today, this afternoon with you. And we're very pleased to bring you this special interview with the Arlington High School boys basketball tri-captains, Aiden Woog McGinty, Miles Hess, and Henry Burns. Guys, first of all, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Yeah, as he mentioned, the team finished with a record of 9-3. They made it to the semifinals of the Middlesex League tournament. So that was quite an accomplishment, again, comparing to last season. Now we're going to quickly ask you guys, we'll start with Aiden. Guys, maybe one particular moment in your high school basketball career that really stands out. Aiden, you led the team with charges taken, and I believe someone told me that you are the all-time leader in charges taken, but maybe not necessarily in regards to that, but if you would like, that's fine as well. But maybe just something, a particular game or a particular moment that stands out in your career at Arlington High.
Gosh, I've had a lot of fun, a lot of great memories playing basketball at Arlington. So it's tough to pick one, but I would just say, in general, just like when we're all getting hyped together on the bench or during practice, we're all screaming and yelling. You know, those are my favorite moments, and definitely something that I'll remember for a long time.
Miles, you're a two-time league all-star and you led the team in assists and rebounds this year. Anything that stands out in your mind, either from this season or through your career at Arlington High?
I think a big point for us this season was right after we had lost 2 games to, I think, back-to-back games to Winchester, and then we beat Reading at 2 games in a row right after that. And I think that just like really led us nicely into the end of the season, because that was probably like our worst part of the season. We lost like 2 in a row out of our 3. And it was a big turning point for us. And I think we won like 4-5, maybe even 6 in a row after that. Mm-hmm. So I just think that was a big turning point. It was really fun to be a part of that.
Henry, you led the team in shooting percentage from the floor at 70%. Anything in your career that sticks out?
That stat doesn't really mean much for me because most of my shots fall within 4 feet of the hoop, but
that's important.
I'd say like the most fun game we had was probably Woburn in their gym. That game was just like, I genuinely enjoyed playing that game. We kind of, were out looking for revenge after losing to Winchester. That didn't really feel too good. And Woburn had canceled earlier in the year after we beat them the first time. So that game was just really good to get. And that helped us kind of flip back into the winning habits that we had.
Thanks, guys, for the great reporting, and thank you for tuning in this week. For ACMi News, I'm Isabella Turst. We'll see you next week.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.